Here are the instructions for the Diverse Perspectives on an Oppressed Population paper with a short reflection. This is worth 125 points. Assignment Overview. Choose a human population who experiences oppression such that their human rights are violated. Show how this oppression of a human population has global, community, as well as global implications. The good starting point is to look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to identify a basic human rights violation. Another way to do this is to identify a human population that has experienced oppression, discrimination, and marginalization such that their safety is compromised. The goal of this paper is to use what you have learned through the semester to think critically and write a report about a violation of the human rights with global implications from at least two diverse perspectives, in other words, different stakeholders, and then reflect on how your own cultural framework impacts how you viewed this population and how writing this paper helped you understand local and global issues. A topic proposal memo with your research question, a draft of this paper, and a peer review and list of revisions are all required in order for you to have your final paper graded by your instructor. The order in which the required content is listed is a pretty good way to organize your paper. Number 1, title of your paper. Your research question, which directs your research and writing, this must be at the top of your paper. 2, state the ethical issue in your introduction. Describe how and where this is a global issue, macro, the impact it has on your community, meso, and how this issue impacts individuals and/or yourself, micro. Use facts to support this information and cite the sources of your facts in this paragraph, or 2 paragraphs. This section requires facts from your sources with in-text citations. 3. State the facts of the human rights violation. Discuss the human population experiencing a violation of their rights. Who is violating their rights, where, what, and how this is experienced by your population. Again, this section requires facts from your sources with in-text citations. B. List which article from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR, is being violated and describe that article. Remember, the UDHR is not international or U.S. law. This section also requires facts from your sources with in-text citations. In this case, you need to cite the UDHR. C. Describe at least 2 important groups of stakeholders with a vested interest in this issue. At least 2 of the stakeholders you discuss must be on opposite sides of this ethical issue. This section also requires facts from your sources with in-text citations. Stakeholders can include those who want to keep the status quo, those who want to change it, for example, the oppressed population or victim versus those who benefit from the way things are or who contribute to the oppression of those victims. D. Analyze each stakeholder by describing each stakeholder's possible cultural frameworks. Here's a list of cultural frameworks: economics, historical, political, education, ethnicity, national heritage, family traditions, social and religious. These cultural frameworks provide the stakeholder's perspective or viewpoint about the ethical issue. You also want to talk about each stakeholder's possible ethical framework. You can use the ones that you will study that include utilitarian, rights approach, common good, fairness or justice, virtue approach, right versus right, or any other that you find pertinent. These ethical frameworks are what might also influence the stakeholder's perspective or viewpoint about the ethical issue. Number 4, describe possible solutions by reporting on the following. A. If you want to, you may describe your own potential solution here. However, this is not required. There is no need to cite yourself as a source here unless you have some ideas that you have some backup for. B. At least 2 specific laws or policies that are designed to help the oppressed population with one each at the local level, national level, and if possible at the international level. If you are comparing 2 countries, provide 2 laws or policies from each country, if you can find them. Again, this section requires facts from your sources with in-text citations. You must cite where you got these laws from. At least 2 organizations or other actions that are designed to help the oppressed population and attempt to address the global issue or solve the problem. You must have one that is a local or national organization, and one organization must be international or global in scope. Again, this section requires facts from your sources within text citations. Number 5. Analyze the solutions, laws, policies, and organizations by describing the following. A. How effectively are the solutions, laws, and organizations addressing the issues? The organizations might report on whether their actions are having an effect. There may be information about how the laws are having an impact. If you find this information, you must provide in-text citations. So, are the solutions practical, feasible? Are they having an impact? Finally, evaluate the solutions or laws or organizations in the context of ethical frameworks by asking and answering at least 2 of the following questions. You could ask, which option will produce the most good and do the least harm? The utilitarian framework. Which option best respects the rights of all those who have a stake? Which is the rights approach. Which option treats people equally or proportionately? Which is the justice approach. Which option best serves the community as a whole, not just some of its members? The common good approach. And which option leads me to act as the sort of person I want to be? The virtue approach. Finally, material from your resources must be properly cited throughout your research paper using direct quotes, summarizing, and paraphrasing throughout the paper. Include a citation page listing all of your sources at the end of your paper using a consistent style such as APA or MLA. Do not put links to the Boise State University Library. Required reflection. Put this reflection at the bottom of your report after the citations page. Write a 200 to 300 word reflection, but no more than 500 words. Given your understanding of your own cultural and social identity, your own perspective as a stakeholder in your own life, how do you believe this understanding impacts and/or influences your perspective on the issues researched, discussed, and evaluated for this paper? Second, describe how your research and writing of this report contributed to your own understanding of local and international issues and what was significant for you. How to complete this assignment. Again, a topic proposal memo with a research question, a draft of this paper, and a peer review list of revisions are all required in order for you to have your final paper graded by your instructor. You must use sources that are no more than 6 years old, unless you are using historical material for an historical population. You must have a minimum of 10 resources, including 2 books, 2 peer-reviewed scholarly articles, and if you check with the library, they'll tell you exactly how to get to those. Those are usually in professional journals. 2 laws, both local and national, and maybe one at the international level if you can find it. 2 organizations, 1 local or national, and 1 must be global. At least 2 other credible resources about this ethical issue. Include a complete citation page without annotation at the end of your paper. Be sure you include the laws and organizations in your citation page. And the UDHR. Material from resources must be properly quoted throughout your research paper using direct quotes, summarizing, and paraphrasing throughout the paper. Again, you can ask a librarian or see the library help videos that are in Blackboard in this UF 200 course. Your paper should be about 6 to 7 pages long plus a citation page and your reflection after that. It must be no more than 10 pages total, including the citation page, plus the page for your reflection. It must be typed using a 12-point font, double-spaced with standard 1-inch margins. List your name, class, assignment name, and date at the top left-hand side of the first page, and be sure and make the research question your title. This assignment must be saved as a Word doc and uploaded to the Diverse Perspectives on an Oppressed Population assignment in Blackboard. This assignment will be graded based on the rubric attached to the assignment.